All right, hey guys, I want to do a quick little thing, and I'm gonna try to make this into maybe a bit of a series, or uh, trying to make some points by doing these videos. I want to do a series of videos. I don't know if I'll make it an actual series, but this is going to be here an introduction to and a brief comparison of the differences in the Articles of Confederation, which was the first quote-unquote Constitution of America. Um, So what I want you to do, your assignment, is to pick up an Articles of Confederation, which you can find online for free, and or you can download an app on your Droid or iPhone or whatever. The most of the U.S. Constitution downloads have a copy of the Articles of Confederation. So let's talk about it here. The United States is operated under two constitutions. The first, the Articles of Confederation, was in effect from March 1st, 1781, when Maryland ratified it. The second, the Constitution, replaced the Articles when it was ratified by New Hampshire on June 1st, 1788. The two documents, which much in common, they were established by the same people, sometimes literally the exact same people, though mostly just in the terms of contemporaries, but they differ more than they do resemble each other. When one looks at the details, comparing them can give us insight into the framers found important in what the framers found important in 1781, and what they changed their minds on by 1788. The following is a comparison detailing the similarities and differences between the Constitution and the Articles. The formal name of the nation. In the Articles, it was the United States of America. The Constitution, it's not specified, but referred to in the preamble as the United States of America. Legislature. In the Articles, it's a unicameral called Congress. That's meaning one body. It's one. There was no House, and there wasn't House and Senate, or were the Congress and the Senate were the same. Under the Constitution, it was a bicameral called the Congress, divided by the House of Representatives and the Senate. So currently we have the House of Representatives and the Senate. Before that, it was just called the Congress. It was one group. Voting in Congress. The way it worked before is each state had one vote. Under the Constitution, it was one vote per representative or senator. Appointment of members. Under the Articles, all appointed by state legislatures in the manner each legislature directed. That means that there was no popular vote for either for the Congress. It was they were elected by the state legislators. Under the Constitution, representatives were elected by popular vote, meaning your congressmen, and the senators were appointed by the state legislators, which was changed farther on, and now both are elected under popular vote. That was the 17th Amendment. The term of legislative office. Under the Articles, it was 1 year. Under the Constitution, it's 2 years for representatives and 6 for senators. The term of limit for legislative office. Under the Articles, it was no more than 3 years out of every 6-year period. Under the Constitution, there's no term limits. Congressional pay. Under the Articles, the congressmen were paid by the states. Under the Constitution, they're paid by the federal government. When the Congress is not in session, a committee of states had the full powers of Congress under the Articles. Under the Constitution, the president can call the Congress to assemble, so the president can force them to assemble if need be. The chair of legislature. Under the Articles, it was the president of the Congress, which was the vice president, I think. Under the Constitution, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, the Vice President is the President of the Senate. So the Speaker of the House is the guy who's the head of the representatives. The Vice President is the head of the Senate. Under the Articles, the Vice President was, or I guess there was the President of Congress. Okay, so he was just a guy named the President of Congress. The executive branch. Um, under the Articles of Confederation, there was none. There was no executive. Under the Constitution, there was a president. National judiciary. Under the Articles, there was a maritime judiciary established. Under the Constitution, a federal judiciary established, including the Supreme Court. That means lower courts, as well as the Supreme Court. The adjudicator of disputes between states. Under the Articles, it was the Congress. The Congress overheard and saw to it that states would get along. Under the Constitution, the Supreme Court is the head of the duty there. New states being admitted. Under the Articles, it was admitted upon agreement of 9 states. There was a special exemption provided for Canada, so I'll get into that later. Upon the adoption of the Constitution, new states were admitted upon an agreement of Congress. An amendment. Under the Articles, all states had to unanimously agree. Under the Constitution, it was agreed upon by 3/4 of all states. Navy. Under the Articles of Confederation, the Congress authorized to build the Navy, and the states were authorized to equip warships to counter piracy. Under the Constitution, the Congress is authorized to build a Navy. The states are not allowed to keep ships of war. Army. Under the Articles, the Congress was to decide on size of force and requisition of troops from each state according to population. Under the Constitution, the Congress is authorized to raise and support armies, period. Power to coin money. Under the Articles, the United States and the individual states were allowed to coin their own money. Under the Constitution, the United States was only allowed to. Ex post facto laws. Under the Articles, these were not forbidden. Under the Constitution, they were forbidden of both the states and the Congress. And I'll have to explain that later. Bills of attainder, which I'll also have to explain later. It was not forbidden, and under the Constitution, it was forbidden to both the states and the Congress. Taxes. Under the Articles, they were appropriated by Congress, collected by the states. Constitution, they were laid and collected by Congress. Ratification. Under the Articles, it required unanimous consent was required. Under the Constitution, consent of 9 states was required, which I'm sure was changed at some point to accommodate for the larger amount. So go and pick up the Articles of Confederation and read them, and even if you don't understand, just go through and read it. Maybe take a few notes or whatever, and we're gonna go into this subject. We may not study the whole thing like specifically, but we're definitely going to look at some of the things in the Articles of Confederation as to how they pertain to the Founding Fathers' vision of America, and how they were implemented in the Congress, and how they are now how they were implemented into the Constitution. And we'll talk about the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists, and we'll talk about all those things, and this hopefully will speak to the intent of America.